Greetings and welcome to Roman of the Empire, the special Independence Day Eve edition. I'm doing this broadcast for a couple different reasons, not the least of which is I need to test my streaming ability because the last one was a complete and wild disaster. But this is a good opportunity to get on and talk about Independence Day, America. Things that we love about America. And in these, let's call them troubled times, to use a, I think, pretty nice version of it, there's a lot for us to still be grateful for about this nation. I want to read to you just a small thing that I wrote. There was a lot of controversy a couple of years ago about a great many things, and there still is. But I wrote this kind of an homage to those who I served with and those who came before me. I will stand. I will salute. I will pledge allegiance to, because men and women like me, patriots, have fought and died under this banner for 244 years. Generations of my family have fought, my friends have died, to ensure this, the greatest nation God saw fit to grace his creation with, did not perish from this earth. You may recall, we've talked about it before, that I served in the Navy for 30 years. And in that time, I served with some great people, some amazing people, some people who didn't make it out of the game. And I like to think they didn't do it all for nothing. You look around the world. In Europe right now, you have the conflict in Ukraine. You can think about it what you will. And all around the globe, there's nowhere like this. We are the nation that is looked to for leadership. And whether we provide that leadership will depend greatly upon what the outcome will be. In the absence of leadership, there is a vacuum. And someone, be it China, be it Russia, will fill that vacuum. So we, as Americans, can't let that happen. We can't let there be a vacuum because we must stand. So what do we still have? What are the great things about the nation? Even if the things are under attack, it doesn't mean that they're not there anymore. Freedom of speech. Many of the criticisms that people lob against our country and its government from within this country, if you did that somewhere else, you would be arrested. They do it in England all the time if they don't agree with your speech. Many places in Europe, things that we say all the time, you're going to go to jail for saying them over there. That's kind of a funny thing. Freedom of religion does not mean freedom from. It means that there's not going to be a state-sponsored and that you can practice as you see fit. And you don't need to look very hard or think about it very hard as to where around the world you don't have these freedoms. You have a state religion that is imposed on you by a theocracy. We don't have that here. And people get very upset about things they think are rights, but in fact are not rights. The Bill of Rights spells it out pretty clearly. Even the rights that we have that the government likes to think are not rights, but they're still there. All you have to do is do a little bit of reading. But I'm not here to complain about things. I'm here about the things that I love about this country. We have a great abundance of things, even though we are running into some problems right now. That's not a exaggeration. That is an issue. But even in hard times, I believe the saying goes, poor Americans are still better off than most people. And that's actually not far from the truth. Our government provides, I think, probably too much in the way of assistance. There should be some assistance, but enough assistance so you can get back on your feet. But other places, you just live under the On the government dole, you are, and that's who controls your entire life because of that. Our system really doesn't do that. The freedom of creation here, which falls under, freedom of speech, we can make some of the most amazing things. From business to entertainment, we can do amazing things. We have been the innovators for, essentially since World War II. It's been us. People look to us. Now, when innovation is subsidized or things are squashed because they don't want the people to have control of a thing, that's not a good thing. But by and large, we still have the ability to get things out there to the people. We have a lot here. We have homes. If you look at homes in Europe, watch almost any edition of BBC anything where it is a common family. Regular folks, middle class, even upper middle class, and what you see is an apartment. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with an apartment. There isn't. I lived in apartments for a very long time. But that's pretty much it. That's where you are stopping over there. There isn't the private home ownership that we have here. And granted, yes, housing costs are a lot. Why is that? Well, there are a lot of different reasons for that. But you can own a home here. And it's not a hole, it's not a cave, it's not a tiny dwelling. I don't live in a very large house, but I have a house. I have my little patch of my land that is mine, mostly to do with as I please, depending on permits, but still, it's more. It's something that we have. Food here, even the bad food, which I shall leave name brands out of it, but if you eat these tacos, you should just eat them in the bathroom. Is still in abundance, and it's depending on what you're getting. It all does vary. That meat prices have gone up. A lot of prices have gone up, but they're still out there. The prices haven't gone entirely crazy yet. Look for sales. That's what I do, but it's there. You can go to the store and it's generally there. Other places don't have that. Certainly not in the abundance that we do. There are great opportunities in this country are for everyone. I don't come from a wealthy background. I joined the Navy when I was a young man, and I made a career of it. But you don't have to make a career of it for the military to do you a lot of good. One of my very best friends served 4 years, and he now works for a major defense contractor as a software engineer, and he makes a very good living doing it. He didn't have college when he joined the Navy. He went to college after the Navy and got a job. Self-made people. The United States gives people the ability to be self-made. Something we have here that a lot of other countries, you don't have the level of opportunity that we have here. That's, our freedom, which other countries don't have. Is it under attack? Sometimes. And that's something that we, the people, have to think about and figure out, how do we fix it? Voting is the most, it's the easiest way, I suppose. Do we worry about the voting integrity now? Sometimes. And the last couple of elections have showed us that there has been issues. But that's the system that we still have. To change the system, the two-party system, that's kind of, It'd be better if we could get third-party candidates in, people who are not beholden to corporations. That would be good. But the system is still there. We haven't fallen. We have advanced faster than any other nation on Earth. Rome stood for 1,000 years. They were the big boys, but they did fall eventually. And we, the people, are the ones who have to ensure that we do not fall. It's up to us. No one's coming to save us. I saw a great post today that said basically that, and it's correct. if things do collapse here, they're not going to be airdropping in aid to save us. It's you're on your own. So we, the people, can't let that happen. It's up to us to maintain the integrity of our government. But that's not the case in a lot of places. They don't even have that. That is what we do. We came from 13 colonies. The British and the folks who came over were largely fleeing tyranny in Britain, based largely on religious persecution. And from those 13 colonies came the most powerful nation the world has ever known. Let's keep it that way. We fight. We fight amongst ourselves like an angry family quite often. Oh, hello, Rosie. Thank you for joining. I am at Rural King right now. Very American. Rural King. Rural King? I do not know this Rural King, Rosie. Is this some kind of burger joint? I have to ask. I'm just not sure. And again, this is a very non-scripted, loose broadcast today. People can chime in if people show up and share your thoughts with me. I'd like to know what they are. What do you like about America? Tomorrow's the birthday, our 244th, and God willing, we'll be around a little bit longer. But again, that's up to us. So I was in the military for 30 years, and you don't stick around that long because the pay is fantastic. It's not bad, but there is a sense of duty, certainly, that I don't generationally, and we talk about this a lot. The sense of duty to one's country. Why people complain a lot about things, but they're not willing to put themselves on the line to help defend or make better. We didn't have them in Alaska. I can tell you that. It's a Midwest thing. Oh, okay. Okay, Rosie, got it. Yeah, I am not familiar with that. Much like Alberto's. People out of San Diego probably have no idea what an Alberto's is. Alberto's it's a taco place. It's a loosely based chain, but it's largely a mom and pop kind of thing. Now, that is American stuff. American Mexican food, American Chinese food, American Italian food. None of these food are quite like they are in their homelands. We take them and we do something else to them. What we think of as Chinese food is very like celebration food. And it's just it kind of is what it is. It morphs. It just becomes part of the fabric of the country. And that's, as I was talking about food earlier, we do still have an abundance. Sometimes it's more expensive. Sometimes it's, well, not very good. But there is still food. Oh, all right, Rosie. Don't know how long I'm going to be on today. Not terribly long. I just wanted to get on and chat for a little bit. And again, hope that everything continues to work. So this is as much as a test as it is a conversation, provided we actually get to have a conversation. And it's not just me rambling for myself for a while. That happens. And that's okay. That's okay. I have my partner, John, with me today. He's off doing his own thing. And I didn't throw this out there for other people to join in as an advance because I didn't know I was going to be doing it. It's the life of the YouTuber. I was going to talk about some movies. I'm going to share just a couple of screens here. I had a list up of movies, my top 10 of the what we call patriotic films. And the one, and I asked for a list from everyone, and we talked a lot about this a little bit on Thursday for those of you who hung in there on Thursday when it was all falling apart. And this one movie was the one that was on just about everybody's list, The Patriot, from Mel Gibson. It's not terribly historically accurate, but you can put that aside. It was still a very good story, and that goes a long way. The story of the father and his sons. Now, he had fought, obviously, for the British before, and in the early days of America, but now he was an American, and he becomes a very brutal man. He tries to live a quiet life, but then the revolution happens, and he can no longer live that quiet life. There are some very touching moments in it, and you can think of the historical accuracy what you will. It's not historically accurate, but it's still a good story. And I think Mel Gibson does a nice job in almost every role that he's in. Certainly younger Mel Gibson. You don't see him a whole lot these days for lots of reasons. But back then, he was quite the A-lister. Now, Red Dawn, the 1984 version, not the crappy new version. This movie scared the crap out of us when we were kids. The Russians and allies, we'll call them, Cubans as well, invaded in cargo planes. It's a kind of a loosey-goosey premise, but once they're here, it's a scary damn movie. And it harkens back to the American spirit, about not letting it go, about rising up and doing what we do. And it's a good movie. It's not even particularly cheesy, even though it is an 80s film. There are some moments, but it's a strong enough story that you forgive quite a bit, and you get mad, and you should, because that's what this movie was supposed to do. It's hard to think of it now, but maybe it's not. We have problems. You worry about you see what happens in Europe right now for what it is, but you also see how compromised things can be in our Central American, South American continents, and where things could come from. Alaska isn't far from Russia. And, like I said, that a lot of things made this movie scary, and the proximity. But you get some good performances out of some young actors who you're familiar with now, but a lot less so back then. My son and I watched Patton yesterday, and let me pull that up. And I'd forgotten how good Patton is. It's a long movie. It's about a 3-hour film. But, man, you don't mind. It's George C. Scott won an Oscar for that role. And he didn't go to the Oscars. He just didn't think the Oscars were worth going to back then. That's how much of an actor he was. That's how much of a patriot he was. He cared about his art and what he had made. And man, his performance, again, this is a 3-hour movie. It's not short. But you really feel every bit of what he went through and the conflict in Europe. It was remember, those were, World War II was still a very messy war. That was soldiers running into people, tanks, a lot of ground combat. There wasn't so much aerial combat as there is today, certainly. You didn't have drones. You didn't have remote things like that. It was man against man, fighting it out. Using, you had to be a tactician, knowing your enemy. Rommel and Patton and Montgomery, the three great tank commanders of World War II. One of them is a German. It doesn't mean he wasn't a great tank commander. Rommel was a great tank commander. He just was a German. And everybody has the people on their side. Monty was the British hero, and they really pushed him. Patton was a great commander who was not a politician, and he paid a lot of prices for that. And so even in the military back then, this is World War II, and this is their best guy. They basically took his command away because he did things that they didn't agree with back then. The slap incident was basically, it was a young soldier who they called it shell shock back then, nerves, couldn't go back on the battlefield, and Patton wasn't having that. And he thought he was trying to give the man a sense of dignity back, and that's the way he was thinking about it. But it wasn't seen very well, and he was relieved of his command. And then that was when he was in charge of the 7th Army. Then later, after he had taken Berlin at the end of the war, he said some disparaging things about the Russians, Ike, the way things were, the way things he didn't agree with at the end of the war. Let's call them that. Because remember, he basically wanted to go into Russia, which, you know, we have the benefit of hindsight, and he was a forward thinker, but they were our allies, and so they relieved him after he was an incredible tank commander, and he covered more ground than anybody ever had at that time, and probably since. Not like we have a lot of tank combat in the modern era. But he said some things they didn't agree with, and they relieved him of his command. This was when he was in charge of the 3rd Army. Your greatest, soldier you've taken off the field because you didn't prefer the way he acted. The Germans actually thought, when he was relieved for the slap, the Germans thought it was a ploy. There was no way they were going to relieve their greatest commander over something like that. And so they kept following Patton around, knowing where he was, and assuming wherever he was, there was going to be an attack or some action or something going on from that area. It was pretty interesting stuff. So our next one, and this one is, I want to say it's funny because it's not funny. One moment here while I load it up. I'm trying not to have too many windows open, as the great disaster of last Thursday proved that was not one of my better options. Here we are. Technical difficulties. Okay, there's Patton. Just have to bear with me if you don't mind. Me knowing how to spell, I'll go ahead and here we go. So, again, not funny, but it's not quite the same caliber of film as Patton. Independence Day. Independence Day was one of those giant blockbuster movies, and there are a lot of goofy elements about it. We can't even kid ourselves about that. But and while it was a worldwide crisis, it was definitely an American film. We talked about a little bit earlier, who's in charge? Who's running the show? Who's driving the bus? Who are they looking to for leadership? They're looking to the United States. And, we get to come off pretty good in this, which is always nice. It was a fun movie as well. And again, there are some goofy parts. Loading the virus into the alien ship. That's kind of a goofy strategy, given that you have no idea how to do that. You're going to load your thumb drive in and give them a virus. You have to look past a lot of things, and that's okay. Looking past things, it gives us the ability to enjoy the entertainment for what it is. I mean, if you look at fantasy too hard, inevitably there is always going to be something goofy. But again, Independence Day was a good American story, and it was one of those movies that gives you hope at the end. Will Smith was, he was a big star at this point. A lot of the actors, Bill Pullman, who I like a lot, very underutilized guy. He did a great job in this. The sequel was terrible. Don't watch that. But this one was really good. Jeff Goldblum being Jeff Goldblum. Judd Hirsch as his father was one of my favorite parts of the movie. But again, it's a good American story. So give me a sec here. We're going to go down a couple more. I figure, you know what, we have some time. Not, as they say. Why not? So if anybody happens to be out there, if you're any of the or you can chime in later in your comments, what are some of your favorite patriotic films? Oops. And again, when I open up the wrong things, it doesn't make this go any faster or better. And it's irritating, and it makes me feel like I'm 5,000 years old. And I'm nearly 5,000 years old. My partner John likes to joke that I'm 11-zy, as Bilbo Baggins was, and he's not very far off on that. Being an older man has some benefits. I get to sit in my garage on a Sunday and talk to you guys. That's not bad. Patton. Oh. Yeah, I can't leave off this. I've been watching a program on Apple TV, and some of you may have seen it, called For All Mankind. And it's basically an alternate history. If the Soviets had gotten to the first, and how that really changed the world. And just technology developed differently. And it's a really good show. It's on season 3 right now. It's a show I didn't even expect. I didn't even know existed until a few weeks ago. But we look back at The Right Stuff. Now, this story is just amazing. The things that we did, quite honestly, the lack of disaster that we had. Now, we had some, yes, absolutely, but we didn't lose as many. The Russians lost a lot of guys. They actually lost guys up in space, though they probably still won't admit that. And you had just such a great cast here. Sam Shepard, Scott Glenn, Dennis Quaid, Ed Harris, Fred Ward as the unfortunate Gus Grissom, Veronica Cartwright, who many of you may know from Alien. She was one of my... Oh, no, I got bots. How can I have bots when I don't even have an audience? See, that's just kind of funny. But gives me a chance to get in there and get rid of the bots. Now, back to the cast here. This was an Ed Harris. This is the movie that really made Ed Harris. Lance Henriksen. Now, a lot of you might remember him from he played Bishop in the Alien movies. He's been on scene for a while. He did a series called Millennium back at when the year 2000 was coming around, which is a really interesting, weird ass show. And he's more of a character actor now. But There's just so many good people in this. Scott Wilson, who you may remember as Herschel from The Walking Dead. There's just so many people in this. But the story of those astronauts, from the Mercury program to Gemini to Apollo, is an incredible American story. And people cared. People cared an awful lot about what that was. And they question now you question the value of why. Goals are very important. Giving the nation almost a collective goal of getting to the moon. After the Soviets beat us with both Sputnik and getting Yuri Gagarin up there, we were a little freaked out because it did show, the technological edge. Now, granted, the Soviets sacrificed an awful lot and didn't quite have the safety protocols that we did, and were more willing to have accidents to speed them along than we were. But everyone was on the edge of their seat watching that moon landing. I think it's still the biggest viewed event ever. And it wasn't just us that was watching it, everybody was watching it because everybody had their eyes on the United States. Not a bad theme for Independence Day. So let me see what else I have on the list here. No, I don't want you to upload the file. Please stop. My computer is fighting me. Oh no, it left. Now I've lost the file. Swell. It's back. We've talked about okay. This is one of my favorites, and some of you might laugh, and that's okay. That's it's good that we can have a sense of humor about things. Okay, good. Loading in right now. Here we go. All right. Screen is still loading. Give it a second here. Because even with my new internet, it ain't working super fast. Uh-oh. Spinny wheels. Here we go. Captain America, the first Avenger. I love superheroes. That isn't a surprise to anyone. But what I love about Captain America is the ideal. He is something to strive for. Captain America had a sense of duty. One of my favorite lines, which I'm not going to get right in the movie, remember, he kept trying to join the army, but he was a little guy who was not in very good shape. Hi, Rosie. Welcome back. Been going on about the different movies that I like for Independence Day. So he was a little guy. He kept getting disqualified to go in the army. And he kept trying and trying and trying. And then Bucky basically is like, just stop, dude. And Steve was, there are men dying over there right now. What right do I have not to go to put his life on the line? And it's that selfless spirit that I think is something that is very much a part of the American ideology. And yes, we can argue about that in degrees, but as a whole, that is something that we do. The throwing yourself on the grenade, all of these large gestures, which are the symbology of it is important. It's not just diving on the grenade. You're saving others' lives. You are sacrificing yourself for something more. And I'm not saying everybody needs to jump on the grenade. That would be a bit much to ask. But the idea of it, the idea that why do I get to stay home if others are going to fight the war? I joined. Is the military for everyone? No. Do I think it should be? And most of you will hate this, but I think the answer is yes. I think a 2-year compulsory service would give people a vastly different impression, perspective on not just the small things, but America as a whole and what it means to be an American. And like I said, we could probably have that argument, or discussion would be better, but that's the story of Steve Rogers. He didn't feel he loved that, and he wanted to do his part. We could use a little bit more of that, I think, in these times. Let's see here. What's next on the list? I'd have them all loaded in, trying to prevent having a giant disaster. Oh, this one is also fun. They're fun. You may think they're not necessarily as fun as I do. Oh, Rosie, what was your comment? I can see part of your comment. Oh no, more bots. No, get out, bots. Out. Ah! Oh dear Lord, I'm being invaded. No. I'm sorry, I'm under a bot attack right now. Under a bot attack. A man with no mods. I'm just a lone guy talking to Rosie, trying to get sex bots off of my stream. Yeah. That's not so good. Okay, deleted. All right. Sex bots are gone. I've done my part. So, back to the stream here. Oh, I think John might be able to join me here. Let's see. Sent you, and you're right here with me on this. It's like you're part of the team. So the next one that we're going to talk about. Oh, wrong reload. Oh Lord. Oh, supposed to be working better. Okay. This one is fun for, especially like in modern times. You think it's a movie that's kind of past. Okay, sorry. John likes to make fun of the way I say sorry as well, which he will let you know if he pops in. And a lot of you weren't alive for some of these things. Remember, I am an ancient human. Come on, load, damn you, load. There we go. Rocky IV. Now, this movie, while being cheesy as hell, is also a great, it really does drive the spirit, which is kind of funny. I'm sending maybe a bit of a mixed message. But the Rocky, this is the America versus Russia back in the 1980s. And remember, it was a very different world then. Now we have the Russia thing. It's not nearly the same. And I won't go into the modern conflict because I don't feel the need to. But back in the 80s, the Russia deal was a huge thing. Oh, you haven't seen it? Oh no, it's definitely worth watching, Rosie. You don't even need to see the other Rocky movies to appreciate it. Though the relationship he has with Apollo Creed, he being Rocky, is very important. in the context of Rocky 4. But I don't want to spoil it for you, but it has been a minute since it's been out. You'll find it surprising. Spoiler, Rocky wins at the end, because he always does. It's an incredible feeling you get, especially back then, facing the giant cold Russian, and he seems so small comparatively. No, sex bots are back. Get out. No sex bots. I'm just a man trying to do a stream. Sex bots? You've seen the first one. Okay, you need to definitely see, 2 and 3 do help. It's like I said, the relationship he has with Apollo Creed is the important thing. Without that context, it doesn't necessarily have the same impact when events happen. But because with the preview, you're getting most of it anyway. You can see what happened. But it was a great movie at the time, and definitely a very big American movie. So back to our list here. Oops, let me pull this off, because you don't necessarily want to see the list. Or maybe you do. Maybe you do. And this is my last one, and this one actually is funny. I say they're funny. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes they're not. Oh, there's John. All right, John shows up for the death rattle here.
Hey.
Hey, buddy, how are you? I was just doing a Independence Day Eve impromptu live stream. I was going through the movies that were on the list that we talked about the other day, and I really wanted to test out the system and see how it holds up.
Oh, see how your speeds do. Yeah, I think I'm hardwired in here, so hopefully I don't buffer too much.
I'm actually going to the final movie on the list, but we talk about what you would advance a little bit. I keep getting attacked by sex bots as well, John, which is new. We haven't had sex bots before.
Hey, I mean, if you're getting the bots in your chat, that means you've officially arrived.
I know. I feel like I've made it.
Do you have moderators? Do you have moderators set up yet?
Oh no, let me do here.
Yeah, so that's what you do. Is you set up mods.
No, it's not. Oh, sweet mother of God. Here, just say something in the stream, John. I appreciate you being here, Rosie. Rosie stuck it out here.
You should be able to click like the 3 dots next to somebody's name, and it should just say like make
there
moderator.
You go. Got it.
There you go. All right.
Okay. Yep. You're good.
Whoop. Hitting the microphone.
On watch. There had to be a better way to say that, and now I immediately just got us canceled.
Hey, I got a wrench.
And this next one may be the most American movie in the history of American movies. There we go. Come on. Work with me, computer. Give it a second so the pictures can come up. But it is hilariously American, provided it loads. There we go. I love Team America. It's but if you've never said America F yeah ever in your life, how bad for you? Bad for you in your heart. You haven't seen Team America, Rosie? We need to get you an overall list of things you should probably be watching, because there are a lot of them out there. And being a little bit weird and a nerd, I've probably seen them all. But Team America was, when it came out, was just so outrageous. And there are actually 2 versions of it. One is the unrated version, which I don't recommend to most normal people.
No,
have you
really
seen
bad.
That one, John?
It's really bad. It has some really awkward.
It's bad. It's so bad. It's
there's some really awkward puppet sex. Let's just put it that way.
No, and it's just so disturbing. Puppets shouldn't do that. It's actually puppets, humans. No one should do. Oh, Kim Jong-il was so funny in this too. It's hilarious. It's probably racist, but it's still funny.
And their depictions of Matt Damon and who's that director? Michael Moore. Michael Moore. Like he had the hot dogs and like the mustard stain, and would just go.
Rosie, your delicate sensibilities are no one's sensibilities. I don't should endure this. It's one of the worst things in the history of things, really. Rosie, could you let me know how things are holding up on your end, despite my lack of script and content and me just mostly bungling through this? How it's holding up as far as lag and me freezing up like an amorphous blob. Because the goal is not to be an amorphous blob, both in real life and on YouTube.
The audio is a little bit
Team America.
Weird. The audio is a little bit weird here on my end, but it could be my connection, so I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. And it's because of course I can't hear myself.
Doing great.
I don't know.
Has problems.
And we'll go with one more movie, and then we'll just start. We can just start talking about movies in general, American themed, preferably. And we don't have to stick around a ton longer. Like I said, this was mostly a drill for skill, as we used to say in the military. And I thought it was a stupid saying then, but that's okay. Come, you know you want to load.
That's what she said?
Come back. I'm not. Maybe? Yeah, the audio is a little weird, but only every now and then. Okay, well. Has the video been consistent, though? Is it dropped off? Because that's where we were. I mean, the audio is a little bit weird. I mean, that means the audio must be getting buffered. I don't know. I don't even know how to make this better at this point. I've done all I can do. Stripes, the movie that made me want to join the Army. Of course, I didn't join the Army. I made a much better decision in the Navy. But video's holding up. Okay, you know what? If the video's holding up, that's 90% of these things. Anyway, probably 20% of my dialogue should be deleted anyway, so it's like a natural selection. This movie is hilarious, completely wrong about nearly every aspect of the military, but still very funny, and still at the end, very pro-American. So if you haven't seen Stripes, have you seen Stripes, Rosie? Tell me you've seen Stripes.
I believe she said BRB.
Oh no, she's left. Now Rosie's gone. Rosie's off. She's tending to the 13 children. It's fine. So, I know you've seen this, John. Or have you not? Oh no, they're back. Sex bots. Sex bot attack. Okay, I think I got them. All right, they're gone. Why me, sex bots? Why?
Hey, you've arrived, man. You're getting hit by the bots. That means
I have. You're back. Okay, Rosie is back. So okay. Rosie, have you seen Stripes? Again, it's a funny movie about the Americans and the Soviets back in the 80s. It's good slapstick fun, just like militaries are in real life. And this introduced you to a lot of people. This is one of John Candy's. You haven't seen Stripes either, Rosie.
Why?
Why?
I have not seen.
You haven't seen this either.
I have.
I am an elder gentleman though, so I've seen a lot of things from.
But I've seen a lot of other Bill Murray and John Candy movies. I've just never seen this one, which I think it's funny that Bill Murray is American, yes, but John Candy, Canadian.
Hey, no one is more American than a Canadian.
I don't know if Devin was in the chat. He'd probably have something to say about that. He's actually probably more patriotic than most Americans I know right now. So it's actually true.
Well, it's funny. So one of the other YouTubers who I follow, PJ Maybe, he's a Scottish gentleman. His avatar is the Judge Dredd helmet with his bearded face underneath it. But right now on Twitter, he's got his avatar, but behind his avatar is a big American flag. He's in Scotland. He broadcasts from Scotland. That's where but he's in there. He's doing it. We were actually talking this morning because he has a collection as well. But he's like, you just got so many things. Well, get them over here. And I'm like, that's because we're American and we make a lot of plastic stuff. Still there? Everything's still working?
Everything's still here, yeah. I'm just
all right.
Trying to see if I can find
Can you share it to me, John?
I think I can pull something up, but then you have to pull it up.
As Rosie endures. But those were the big ones on the list. And there are other people had made other suggestions about movies. Things like Saving Private Ryan, which I think is a really good movie, but where Patton, I think, captures really the essence of the American spirit. A movie like Saving Private Ryan isn't really quite delivered in that same context. It's almost like you can't watch Apocalypse Now and say, that's not really a rah American film. It just isn't designed in that same kind of way. It's the story of what's going on in that moment. Whereas Patton was more of George C. Scott steps onto the stage in the opening moments of the film in front of a giant American flag. It's a very American theme throughout. John, do you have some, do you have favorites that we have talked about or maybe have and we can discuss?
Well, I felt like we kind of talked about this the other night when I was over there, and it's like when you asked for patriotic movies, I initially didn't comment because I thought a lot of the movies that I watch around like Memorial Day, 4th of July, different stuff like that, like I don't necessarily know if I would call them patriotic movies, but they're very pro-military. That still kind of get you fired up and wants you to like charge into battle for your country, even though our country hates us right now.
Not all of it. Just
the people running
the government.
The people running it hate us right now. No, the two that immediately come to mind that initially I was like, I don't know if these count as patriotic movies, but I like them, is Lone Survivor and American Sniper.
Right. No, and I would agree. I love both of those films.
I like Saving Private Ryan, but I feel like aside from that incredibly gruesome opening scene, the rest of the movie is pretty Hollywood. Like it's a lot of just kind of Hollywood storytelling and everything. And I've heard of how surviving World War II veterans say that opening sequence of Saving Private Ryan is one of the most accurate, hard to watch depictions of what happened. But outside of that, I feel like overall Saving Private Ryan is a good movie. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it. It's good, but it's a lot of just kind of Hollywood fluff after that. Whereas I felt like American Sniper and Lone Survivor, again, condensed, shortened, were a little more ugly throughout. Like it kind of showed more of like, hey, like this is not a good thing. This is not something that people want to go through or want to do, but they do it because that's the oath that they took and that's their duty. And but
now HBO many years ago now, pull that up, the series John Adams. Did you see that?
Hey, you kind of cut out a little bit. What was it?
John Adams.
Nope.
On HBO.
I do not have HBO now.
There. Okay, pulling it up. Trying to pull it up. Desperately trying to pull it up. John Adams. So here we are. Results 4. Come on, work with me, computer. There we go. Okay. Well, that worked better than I thought it was going to. Okay, so Paul Giamatti, who I like very much as an actor, plays the main character of John Adams, and is pre-revolution, through revolution, through his presidency after. He and John Adams had and they were both president. Jefferson basically did a kind of hit piece on John Adams. Go away, Banner.
What did you do? Oh, switch to dark mode.
Oh no, I broke the internet. I keep breaking. I don't even know how to do that. I don't even know what this dark mode is. People talk about it. I feel like I live dark mode. So they became bitter enemies because I'm sorry. Yeah,
you're what?
Word again. Sorry.
You're what? You're
Thomas
sorry?
Jefferson and this was back in the era as well when winning the election, you were the president, but whoever came in second was the vice president.
Oh, so you didn't get to pick your running
John
mate.
Adams, no. So you could be diametrically opposed, but you had to work together, or at least give the illusion of working together.
You know what? I think we should go back to that system.
Man,
that sounds amazing.
You know what? The thing is, you would actually have. I think the country would have to work better together if you had the two parties that were literally like that.
You would potentially have people.
Yep.
You would potentially have a Republican being forced to work with a Democrat, meaning they would be forced to work together.
Yeah,
wow.
It's a whole game changer.
I think we need to go back to that.
And this again, you can see why they wanted to get away from it, that their programs would continue on, but in that context, you have to. I'm blind, really, John.
Dark mode.
You would really have to think about working together closer. So I thought it was a cool system, but if they didn't like each other, like Thomas Jefferson and John Adams were not good friends for a very long time after that. And when did he die? Because they died literally on the same day.
Huh.
Hang on, give me 1 sec to look this up so I can. Thomas, because it's just one of those weird fun facts. Which I was joking that I just too many windows open in hopes of not destroying the podcast today. So both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, who did become friends again much further down the line, both died on July 4th, 1826.
Wow, on 4th of July. How about that?
Yeah. Two of the original patriots died on the 4th of July at the same time. It's a weird kind of goosebumpy thing when you think about it. And it's just also amazing they lived that long. You know, they were because people think about, you know, back then they didn't live as long. These two were very old men when they died. I think they were actually in their 90s. I'm sorry, in the 80s, 83. They were older. They lived like normal, what we would consider in the modern age normal. But people didn't really die so early back then. You had a lot of infant mortality, which skewed the numbers a lot. But regular people didn't just drop off at 50. That wasn't a thing. So people like to think it was, but it was not. So this series, though, it's a little bit long, but man, it's definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it. And another good patriotic series, if I can get old Squeaky the computer to cooperate.
Oh, wait, when you say old Squeaky, are you talking about the computer or yourself?
It could go either way. Let's not get ourselves. Turn. Here we are. Is this it? Hang on.
Hanging on.
I know. This is what happens when I go unscripted. It's just a complete train wreck.
Did you see what happened when I went live and unscripted?
Is that when you didn't have a mic?
Yeah, my microphone was off for like 5 minutes.
Oops. Come on. For the love of God.
Oh, look, beer.
Really? I know I don't have any beer, and I really wish that I did right now. I would feel less
It's a
bad
rookie
about
mistake.
the miserable content that I'm making. No, okay. I'm going to say screw it because the computer's not working. There's an AMC series called Turned, which was based on, I think it was called the C6 Washington Spies. And it was about the spy network that was set up during the Revolutionary War by George Washington. It is so well done. And it's 3 seasons. Man, British are assholes in it. They are not they're not the happy-go-lucky folks on Monty Python.
Oh, hello.
It's dark and it's mean. Why we had the revolution?
Because they didn't want to pay tax on their tea.
It was a lot more than that. They really didn't treat. It's funny, you know. And if you think if the British had simply like since as something other than the revolution. Remember, the majority of the United States want to have the revolution. It was only about a third of the country. Because everybody else was just like, keep your head down, don't look at him too close. Let's just find wood, some potato, make it a kill. Hopefully not on someone's land. They just trying to go about their daily lives and keep their heads down and hope everything was just going to be okay. And that third of the population was like, nah, you know what? Screw this. We don't need to be under their boot. But I mean, if you look at America today and tell me that the mind is really that much different.
Oh, look, beer.
But that's just a thought. So I mean those are the two big series that I liked. People also talked about movies like Glory, which is a good movie, but again, I don't really think it fits in this specific theme.
Independence Day.
And most of the war movies are also kind of. I still think Independence Day works. Not Independence Day 2, but Independence Day 1.
No. It's a good one, but I don't know if I would call it patriotic. I enjoy watching the movie, but it's kind of like
It's a very American themed movie. Who do the world look to provide leadership? They look to the Americans because we were always the ones that come through in the end. At least we. And when the president gives his speech, even though he was speaking to the world, he was talking about the 4th of July, and then it just became a bigger theme. But I still like it in that regard. So you've seen Independence Day, okay? So Rosie, we're getting there. We're getting there. I've seen Glory like once. Have I seen it? Yes, I have seen it. But Independence Day I've seen a million times. I've only seen Independence Day 2 once, and I greatly wish that I had not.
I did the same. I watched it one time, and I regretted it.
And why? Why was that movie so bad? Come on, play the game with me.
I don't remember because I don't remember much of it. I think I blocked it out of my memory.
Because they were pandering to the Chinese market. And it was very, very clear. So it was just, and the performances and the writing, I mean, all that stuff was not nearly, not as good. It would imply it's good at all, because it's not. Rosie, don't. I implore you, do not see the second Independence Day film.
So I got a screen here. I think we might as well share.
Oh, okay.
as we're talking about the presidential speech from Independence Day. See if this works.
I'm adding it now.
In less than an hour, aircraft from here will join others from around the world. And you will be launching the largest aerial battle in the history of mankind. Mankind, that word should have new meaning for all of us today. We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. We will be united in our common interest. Perhaps it's fate that today is the 4th of July. And you will once again be fighting for our freedom. Not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, to exist. And should we win the day, the 4th of July will no longer be known as an American holiday, but as the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not vanish without a fight. We're going to live on. We're going to survive. Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
And there you go.
Yeah, that's a great one. It is. It's a really good. I'm mildly politically aroused right now.
But that's I mean that's a good one. Like it makes you want to go and like charge out into battle
Matt
and like
okay.
fight.
It is. It's a great speech. Rosie. I actually have not seen The Martian.
Oh, I haven't seen that one either. But I felt like
I think I stopped space movies. Was that when Interstellar came out? Did they come out around the same time?
It was. So I was gonna say like that came out around the same time as Interstellar. So in my mind, it just kind of felt like, oh, it was Matt Damon playing the same character from Interstellar, but like continuing the story. It wasn't. That was not the intention, but that's how it felt because they came out so close together. I never saw the Martian. Apparently, he was like growing poop potatoes and like.
That's so not good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Oh Lord.
If I have to watch Rocky 2 through 4, you have to watch.
I will
The
watch.
Martian.
We can talk about that. Fair enough. I'm not sure who's getting the better end of the deal though, because I'm not a huge Matt Damon fan. I'm not gonna lie. I like him in doses. And that's all I can ever think. That's all I can ever think. I think we might as well. We could probably wrap up here. Again, I just wanted to kind of get talk a little bit about what I like about America. We talked about a lot of the movie stuff, which was really fun, and then give the old Lima test and see how we held up. And I think it actually was a much better version than I've had. So it's probably as good as it's going to get is the reality. So as long as we're not dropping off and it gets weird and our poor guests are trapped alone on interwebs, we can call it a win.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, Rosie, since you're hanging out, thank you for hanging out for a little bit this afternoon. Happy Independence Day. Go watch some Rocky movies. And, leave the for George Washington. John?
You're cutting out a little bit again.
Oh, damn it. All right, well, I was just saying, any last words before we sign off?
Oh, I don't know. Cheers to America and fuck yeah.
America, fuck you. All right. If you tuned in late and showed up anyway, thanks for coming by. We do appreciate it. Have a very happy Independence Day.
Oh, God.
It's okay.
What's happening?
It's not okay. Well, I know it's supposed to be happening. God damn it!
Are we still live?